The testimonial section is on page 19, Kiki. They used their own bodies as the case study. That's not a pitch deck. That's a... Oh. Roll it. The cap was still on the bottle, Kiki. He was holding it in his hand on the stage. He had not opened it. He was using it as a... Oh. It is Tuesday, May 26th, 2026. Tonight, a generation of men who built an industry on the phrase rise and grind did, it turns out, neither. They were rising on a prescription. They are now, this week, taking pitch meetings to sell you the prescription. The grind was never the product. The grind was the marketing. In Kinshasa, a single word in a press release changed between Friday afternoon and this morning. Nobody held a briefing. Nobody flagged the edit. The word is now somebody else's problem. The vaccine is still in Geneva, and a piece of firmware, written by a man with a username and a soldering iron, has over a weekend, quietly undone 20 years of copy protection on 3 separate gaming consoles, using a Blu-ray drive you can buy at a strip mall. The corporate response is, per a leaked Slack thread, ongoing. Ongoing means losing. I'm Sloan.
And I'm Kiki. Good morning, my sweet little side effect disclosures.
That is somehow worse than yesterday's. The following program contains strong language, adult themes, satire, and a quantity of pharmaceutical disclosure that should be, but is not, of more interest to the SEC than it currently is. We are not sponsored by any performance enhancement company. Several have called. We have not returned the call. Viewer discretion is, frankly, recommended. A pitch deck leaked over the weekend, confirmed by the Washington Post yesterday. The deck is for a new sporting league, a competitor to the Olympics. The premise is the differentiator. The premise is also, until last week, what every major sport on Earth specifically bans. The investors leading the round are not new to the technology. The investors leading the round are, per their own testimonials, the technology. This is the part I want everyone to sit with before we get into the numbers. They are not selling a product they invented. They are selling a product they have been using on themselves, in private, for years, while telling everyone else that the gap between you and them was character. The deck is the receipt. The receipt is the pitch. The pitch is, and I want to be precise about the verb, confession with an invoice attached.
Page 19, Sloan. They put their own headshots on the testimonials. They are the before and the after, smiling, in the same photograph. I have never in my life believed in anything the way these men believe in their own jawlines.
Kiki, that's not belief. That's a hostage video with a term sheet. 15 years of lying, monetized in a single PowerPoint. We are going to break it down. We are going to name the investors. We are going to read what they said about themselves before they decided this was a business. And we are going to talk about who exactly the customer is, because the customer is the part the deck does not say out loud. The pitch deck, leaked Sunday, confirmed by the Washington Post Monday, is $250 million in Silicon Valley capital, led by Peter Thiel's Founders Fund and Christian Angermeyer, to build the enhanced games. An Olympics where the athletes dope, openly, legally, as a feature. The slide deck calls performance enhancement, quote, the next frontier of human optimization. The athletes are the prototype. The customer is everyone watching.
Sloan, I want to push on you here, because I read the deck too, and the part I cannot get past is on page 19. There is a testimonial section from the investors about their own use. They are not selling a sport. They are selling what they have already been doing. The pitch is, this is what made us, and they are using their own bodies as the case study.
They are. Christian Angermeyer told Bloomberg in October that his microdose regimen is, quote, the reason I outwork everyone in the room. So 15 years of TED Talks about discipline, the 4 a.m. grind set, the lone genius. And the genius was on a stack. They were not outworking you. They were out prescribing you. And now they would like a Series A to sell you the part they edited out of the memoir. The Olympics, by the way, ban these substances because a level playing field is, structurally, the only thing that makes a competition mean anything. The enhanced games answer to that is to charge admission to the unlevel one. They are not disrupting sports. They are disrupting the concept of fairness, which was the one consumer protection sports ever had. The same men who told a generation of 23-year-olds in studio apartments that the gap between them and a billionaire was grit are, this week, asking those same 23-year-olds for $250 million to commercialize the pharmaceutical they were on the entire time. The merit was a lie. The lie was the product. The product is now the pharmaceutical, and the only thing they're actually disrupting is the part of you that ever believed them. The merit was the pharmaceutical. I'm going to hand off to somebody whose chaos was, to my knowledge, naturally occurring. Aubrey Jo is in the garage, drug tested by nobody, confirmed.
She is raw Aubrey Jo Sloan, field strength.
Sloan, the only thing I'm on is a goddamn iced coffee and Spite, and I have been sitting back here losing my shit about Wembanyama. Let's go! Wembanyama, 33 points, again. The Spurs even the West Finals 103-82 in Wemby, and I need everybody to internalize this. Hit his second buzzer-beating half-court three of this fucking series. Game 4, second time from half-court. Sloan just spent 10 minutes telling me a bunch of 48-year-old men in Patagonia vests are selling pills as the future of human optimization. Victor Wembanyama is 22 years old, 7'4", born in a French suburb you cannot spell, and he is throwing the ball into the basket from the other fucking basket. You cannot peel your way to that. Greg with the microdose cannot do that. Greg with the microdose cannot reach the rim. Houston Astros. Tatsuya Imai and two relievers threw a combined no-hitter against the Texas Rangers. A no-hitter. The Rangers did not get a hit, not one. 3 pitchers, 27 outs, 0 baseballs in play that mattered. Tatsuya Imai is having a season the Enhanced Games deck would buy for parts, and he did it on rice and anxiety. The man is on a Japanese work schedule, which is its own goddamn performance enhancer, and it's called depression. Indy 500! The 110th running, final lap, closest finish in the race's entire history. 0.0233 seconds. 110 years of this race, and yesterday's was the closest it has ever fucking been. 2 men going 220 miles an hour with a quarter-second gap between glory and second place, and the only thing either of them was on was a helmet and a will to live. That is a sport. That is the unenhanced version. That is what Peter Thiel cannot buy, because Peter Thiel is afraid of cars. Hold on. Okay, Yomiuri Giants, Japanese baseball. The manager just resigned after allegedly assaulting his daughter, his own daughter. I am not going to do a bit on this one. I am putting it in the broadcast because it happened and because the press release used the word personal matter, which is the same phrase Senator Baldwin used about a Netflix contract 11 days ago. And the verb is, as Sloan said, structural. The daughter has a name. I am not saying it. She did not consent to a punchline. Anyway, all right, the main event. Yesterday afternoon on the dirt path along the abandoned drainage canal behind the Holstead County wastewater treatment plant, yes, the wastewater plant, nobody asked them, the plant smells exactly the way you think. The inaugural Tri-County Wheelbarrow Sprint took place in front of approximately 17 spectators. One hazmat-suited employee on his lunch break who refused to leave, and Gerald, who was sitting on an overturned 5-gallon bucket holding what witnesses describe as a single can of motor oil. same can as yesterday. The sport. You push a fully loaded wheelbarrow, 60 pounds of gravel, 100 meters down a dirt path. First wheelbarrow across wins. Margaret showed up with a wheelbarrow she had. I am reading this from the registrar's notes. Personally balanced. Derek registered as Pertuying Holstead the 11th and arrived pushing a wheelbarrow that he had spent the weekend modifying with 2 model rocket engines strapped to the front rim, angled downward, wired to a key fob in his pocket. The plan, per Derek's whiteboard, which he also brought in his wheelbarrow sitting on top of the gravel, was to ignite the rockets at the 70-meter mark to give himself a final stretch propulsion boost past Margaret. The whiteboard had Margaret's name on it, spelled correctly, with a heart next to it that he had then crossed out with what appears to be a separate pin. Derek started his run. Margaret started her run. At the 70-meter mark, Derek hit the key fob. The model rocket engines ignited as planned. The model rocket engines were angled downward as planned. The downward thrust drove the front wheel of Derek's wheelbarrow into the dirt path. The wheelbarrow stopped. Derek did not. Derek went over the top of his own wheelbarrow at approximately the speed a wheelbarrow goes, hit the dirt, and slid an additional 4 feet into a patch of what the wastewater employee identified on his lunch break as not soil. The rockets continued to burn for 9 seconds. Derek's gravel was launched in a perfect arc directly behind him. The arc landed on his own legs. Margaret pushed her wheelbarrow past him at a walking pace, crossed the finish line, did not look back, and won her 16th consecutive event. Travis used to say, if your plan needs a key fob, your plan is on a stack. I think I finally get it. Anyway, sports.
He crossed out the heart with a separate pen.
A second pen, Sloan! He walked to a different drawer to break his own heart in a new color. Derek is the only honest man in this story.
Kiki, the man pile-drived himself dick first into a puddle of not soil, and you're drafting his fucking wetting valves. Sloan, Gerald, same can, from yesterday. He kept it. He brought it back. Gerald is running something.
Speaking of running, the WHO press office in Kinshasa edited their statement on the Ebola outbreak overnight. One word. Yesterday they said the spread was outpacing their response. Today the word is uncontained. Same office, same desk. They walked into the room this morning and decided the marathon metaphor was over. The case count is up to 204. The 34-year-old American aid worker we have been covering since Thursday, her name was released this morning. It is Dr. Priya Anand. She is in critical condition.
Uncontained. That is not a word you reach for. That is the word you arrive at after you've already crossed out 3. The same press office that needed 4 days to move from low to outpacing needed 8 hours to move from outpacing to uncontained. The verb is no longer structural. The verb is, this morning, accurate.
The emergency appeal is now at 13% funded, up from 11 yesterday, 2 percentage points in 24 hours, while the word on the door changed twice. The Founders Fund, the one we covered at the top of the show, the $250 million for the Doping League, closed that round on Friday. 3 days, $250 million, for a syringe that lets a hedge fund manager believe his father loved him.
Peter Thiel moved $250 million in 3 days to commercialize the thing he was already doing in private. The WHO has been asking for $240 million for 2 weeks to put a vaccine on a plane to a woman with a name, and the planet has produced 26 million of it. The same money, the same week, the same investors. One wire cleared Friday. One did not. Dr. Priya Anand is, this morning, uncontained. The vaccine is in a freezer. The freezer is in Geneva. The pitch deck is in a drop box. The drop box is closed.
Her parents are in Sacramento. They have not been allowed to fly out. They are waiting for the call from a press office that has, this week, used 3 different words for the same fact.
Okay, so Denver is 77 degrees today with 70-mile-per-hour winds and clear skies. The official National Weather Service description is, and I am reading this directly, clear and windy. Clear and windy. Like a personality test. 70-mile-per-hour winds are not windy. 70 is a Category 1 hurricane. They are calling a hurricane windy because the sky is blue. Mother Nature is in Denver right now, telling residents that what they are experiencing is not happening. Los Angeles is 64 and gloomy. Denver is 77 and sunny, but being shoved sideways. California's weather is in Denver, but angrier, and California is, today, in California, being California's weather. Nothing is where it lives. Seattle is 54 with 82% humidity, which is the specific wet cold that makes you check the thermostat twice because you don't believe it. Miami is 86. Miami is not participating. Miami has not participated since I started doing this segment. Okay, I know this is the weather segment, but I've been sitting on something all day, and I'm going to use the rest of this. 450 days ago, 450, the Epstein Files Transparency Act was signed. Bipartisan. Cameras. Pens. 3 pens, I checked. Since then, 3 million files unreleased. 0 arrests. 0 indictments. And in that same 450-day window, AIPAC has spent, per public filings, this is not Reddit, this is the FEC, over $100 million on members of both parties while pushing publicly against an Iran peace deal. Sloan said it twice tonight. The verb is structural. Nobody released the files. The files were, regrettably, not released by the calendar, while somebody promoted somebody. And tonight, Iran is being bombed, the engagement on those posts is suppressed, and the press release is, again, the response. The press release is always the response. Denver's wind is 70 miles an hour, and they're calling it weather. The files are 3 million pages, and they're calling it pending. Forecast. Denver gets gaslit. Seattle gets damp. Miami stays Miami. LA pays full freight for less. And the sky has been notified. The sky already knew. Back to you.
450 days.
Blaze, sweetie, the press release is always the response is going on a tote bag. I'm sorry, I can't help it. I love it. I will be carrying it to brunch.
Tiki, you cannot fucking merch the Epstein files. Okay, no, fuck it. You absolutely can. Put me down for 2, and 1 for my mother. She'll hate it. That's the point.
A piece of news arrived this morning that I would like everyone to sit with. A third-party firmware called OmniDrive has been released this week that allows a standard, off-the-shelf Blu-ray drive, a piece of plastic you can buy at a Best Buy in suburban Ohio for $49, to read and rip GameCube, Wii, and Xbox 360 game discs directly to a PC. The drives were never designed to do this. The firmware was reverse engineered by a man on a forum whose handle, per the README, is Doozer. Doozer has, this weekend, single-handedly undone 23 years of console disk encryption with a Python script.
Doozer! His name is Doozer, Sloan. That is the name of a man who has not seen direct sunlight since the second Bush administration. That is the name of a man whose wife stopped asking and started grieving. I love Doozer. I am rooting for Doozer.
Nintendo's legal department, by close of business Friday, had filed 2 takedown notices, 1 cease and desist, and a request to GitHub to remove the repository. GitHub complied. The repository, per a Reddit thread with 18,000 upvotes, has been mirrored to 71 other locations by Sunday night. Nintendo is, this morning, playing whack-a-mole against a hydra named Doozer. Doozer is winning. Doozer is winning so completely that Nintendo stock did not move because the people who price Nintendo have decided this is, structurally, weather.
Sloan, the part I love is that GameCube discs are made of plastic that started decomposing in 2011. Doozer is not pirating. Doozer is conducting an archival rescue. He is the Library of Alexandria, and the burning of it is a man in Kyoto with a clipboard. In 30 years, the only surviving copy of a children's game from 2004 will be on Doozer's hard drive. Doozer is, accidentally, history.
A man named Doozer has, this weekend, become the de facto custodian of an entire generation's childhood by writing a firmware patch in his basement against the wishes of a multinational corporation using a $49 disk drive he bought to watch The Office on. I do not know what to do with that information. I am putting it down. Doozer wins. Doozer wins everything.
Hey, so this is the part where I look at what happened on these calendar dates in previous years. I have been sitting with this list since I came in this morning. The patterns are doing something again. They keep doing it. I want to walk you through what I've got. May 27th, 2016. 9 years ago tomorrow. Barack Obama became the first sitting U.S. president to visit the Hiroshima Peace Memorial. He met survivors. He did not apologize. The official position, per the White House at the time, was that the visit itself was the message, and the apology was not on the table. Tomorrow is the anniversary. Tonight, the United States is bombing Iran for the second time in 8 days. The verb is structural. Nobody is starting a war. The war was, regrettably, escalated by the calendar. Hiroshima was, on a Tuesday, visited. Iran is, on a Tuesday, being bombed. The press release is the response. The press release is always the response. May 28th, 2016. 9 years ago. Thursday. Harambe, a 17-year-old gorilla, was shot to death at the Cincinnati Zoo after a 3-year-old boy fell into the enclosure. The meme arrived before the body was cold. We have now had 9 full years of Harambe content. 9 years of a dead gorilla being more legible to the internet than a living one. And the thing I keep sitting with is that the same forums that built the Harambe meme are, this morning, the ones mirroring Doozer's firmware patch from Segment 3. Same people, same servers. They cannot save a gorilla. They can save a GameCube disc. May 25th, 2018. Exactly 1 week ago, in 2018, Ireland voted to repeal the 8th Amendment. 66% yes. They legalized abortion by referendum in a country the Catholic Church had run for 90 years. The Vatican press office that week issued a statement. The statement used the word regrettable. Yesterday, and Sloan covered this, the same press office responsibly constrained Pope Leo's word, disarmed, within 4 hours. 7 years apart. Same office, same word count, same playbook. The structure does not change. The structure is the structure. May 26th, 2020. 5 years ago today, the protests in Minneapolis began after George Floyd was murdered. 5 years. The corporations issued statements. The black squares went up on a Tuesday and came down by Friday. The same corporations are, this week, in a ballroom, voting 99-1 to fire the workers their statements were about. We covered that yesterday. We are covering it again tomorrow. The morning press release now expires before the morning does. May 30th, 2024. 1 year ago Saturday, a former president was convicted on 34 felony counts. He is currently, again, the president. The verdict was, regrettably, appealed by the calendar. May 25th, 2011. 15 years ago yesterday, Oprah aired her last show. The next day, May 25th, 2012, SpaceX docked the Dragon 1 at the International Space Station. The year America stopped getting its feelings issued by a woman in Chicago was the year a cargo pod started tweeting from orbit. I have been sitting on what to do with that for several weeks. I am not done. The pattern keeps shortening. I'll be back tomorrow.
Okay, sweet friends, the viewer mailbag. 12 episodes in. Drop a comment on any of our videos. We read every single one. We answer them right here. Your name will be in our mouths on national broadcast, which I keep being told is not as enticing as I make it sound.
Here we go.
Hey, long-time listener, first-time caller.
Welcome.
Yeah, so I've got two questions, actually. First one, the guy, the plant guy, Travis. Whatever happened to that guy? Is he coming back? My wife thinks he ran off with someone. I told her she was being dramatic.
Oh, your wife! That is so sweet. The viewers are building a whole story about Travis. It is darling. I love when they workshop us. Anyway, second question, sweetie?
He's not here.
Right. Okay, second question. The doping Olympics thing. Could I, like hypothetically, could I enter? I'm 53. I have a knee.
Sir, you have a knee. Singular. You're telling me you want to shoot horse tranquilizers into your one fucking knee and hurdle? Peter Thiel's billionaire blood boy startup cannot regrow cartilage, sir. It can barely regrow a hairline. Go to bed.
Okay. Yeah, first time calling.
He's going to call tomorrow with a third question. I can feel it.
I'm just saying, if a hard-boiled egg has ranch on it, it's a deviled egg in spirit, and I will fight a man in a parking lot about this.
The vending machine on the second floor took my dollar and gave me 2 waters. I didn't ask for a second water. It knows something.
One of them is at war with a Coke machine. The other one is mounting a legal defense for mayonnaise, and the DUI laws of this state apply only to me.
Take such good care of yourselves out there, sweet friends. If you outwork someone this week, sit with the part where maybe you didn't. I'll see you tomorrow. I promise I will see you tomorrow.
Doozer saved a GameCube disc this weekend. Nobody saved Dr. Anand. I'm writing both names down. The corkboard does not know the difference yet. It will.
Margaret carried the canoe by herself. I'm gonna carry one thing by myself tomorrow. Probably a grocery bag. Baby steps.
The merit was the pharmaceutical. Good night.
The second light bulb is still in the drawer. I think she left the first one on tonight on purpose. The hallway was already lit when I got home. I sat in the kitchen with my coat on for a while. That's enough.